Okay, we're going to set you guys right up here, and I'm going to do a little stacking, and I want to give you my thoughts on why I stack versus others just run it up a conveyor and let it sit in a big pile. Uh, First off, why I stack, and something you can consider is just because of the sheer pleasure, if that's what you like to do. Could be out of tradition, could be the way it looks. I remember back in outdoors with the Morgans, back at the very beginning. I think one of his videos was stacked like a boss, and all his rows down the wood yard, you know, they were so perfectly straight, and it looked like a big shear just went right down across the edge of the firewood. I mean, he was perfectly straight and all even and stuff like that. It just looks really nice. Um, so that's one reason. You know, it's all your preference, what you like to do, maybe how you was brought up. But number two, it's really number two, twofold: time and space. First of all, do you have the space? If you were just having a big pile, stacking it, you're condensing it more, obviously, because in a big pile you got a lot more airspace, which is a positive for that. Lets your wood breathe more. But do you have the space? For instance, Chris in the wood yard, man, since he moved to that farm, man, he's got wide open land. He's got all the room in the world to put it in big piles, big pyramids. And he's got all the open areas. There's no trees. He's got good wind flow. So others that are like in their backyard, they have some trees, may not be such a good idea. For instance, Joe from Ohio Woodburners, he's confined in his area. So I think it behooves him to stack it since he's limited on space and also time. Do you have the time to stack? And that goes into the next one, your business model. How you selling your firewood? Are you delivering, or are you having people pick it up? Uh, so for those who are delivering, like Chris in the wood yard, he spent a lot of time delivering. You don't have the time to stack it. And going back to Joe at Ohio Woodburners, he delivers, but then again, he's up against space. So you got to weigh your pros and cons. What you're going to do, stack versus leaving it in a big pile. And so, fourthly, I think it's four. One of my biggest things is I like to keep my firewood covered. Uh, it just baffles my mind if you stack it, or either way, stack it or in a pile. Why are you letting the rain re-wetting your wood? I even put plastic under. Well, in here in this pit, I got concrete, but on the ground, I always put plastic down because what's happening to all that moisture from the ground? It's got to evaporate. It's evaporating into your wood. And the nature of this wood, I have a bathroom vanity where there are two doors below the sink. During winter, the doors open and close just fine, but during summer, when humidity is present, they swell and they like overlap a little bit. I'm sure you ran across doors that swell. So it's the nature of the wood to absorb moisture. For instance, sawdust. Some people use sawdust for oil spills to act as an oil absorber. So the nature of this wood is to absorb moisture. So I want to try to keep that as low as possible by putting plastic on the ground to eliminate evaporation into the wood pile. And also I cover my wood. Now, some of these piles I put the cover right on top of the wood, but lately I've been trying to put a pallet roof over to leave a little air gap between the covering and the air. So, or covering of the roof to the top of the firewood pile or row to allow some air movement across the top to aid in that. So, but another thing that's an advantage to leaving it in a POW is you get a lot more air breathability through the POW because you got a lot more air spaces. For instance, here you're packing it pretty tight, and that's inhibiting airflow from all four sides of the firewood stick. So there's pros and cons to what you do. Your business model: are you selling firewood self-serve style, or are you delivering? Your time and space. So all these things are you got to consider whether you stack or leave it in a big pile. So just my thoughts as I continue here to stack my firewood. So be that as it may, that's my thought. So have a good one. We'll see you on the next one.